Yo, what's going on guys? HyperX here. Welcome back to another video for Cyberpunk 2077, and in this one I want to take some time to show you my build, my current build. Keep in mind I'm still playing through the game, I'm still leveling my character, I'm still making tweaks here and there, but I thought I'd show you how I've been playing so far, what I've spec'd into, and just give you an idea as to what's possible given my chosen direction. Essentially, I've gone out to try and create One Punch Man. Alright, let's be honest, it's not quite one punch. I mean, sometimes it is. A lot of the time it's 1-2 punch. Basically, I went around and created a melee-focused character. I've spec'd heavily into body. In fact, I've maxed out my body attribute. I've still got some perks to unlock, but I've maxed out the attribute. And I've then basically gone and put everything I can into blunt damage. So I grab blunt weapons, I have gorilla fists, and I basically run towards enemies, run down their bullets, and I just punch them in the face. It's worked for me the majority of the time. Occasionally, it doesn't go very well, but I will say 99% of the time, it works, which is great. Admittedly, this is my first playthrough, so I have no idea how kind of other styles feel, but what I am pleasantly surprised with is the fact that I've taken, let's be honest, kind of a wacky build in a game where you've got lots of guns and people tend to shoot at you 99% of the time, and I've chosen to do something that a lot of people will probably deem quite stupid, and it's actually worked. I've been able to fight machines, bosses, floating drones, basically anything the game throws at me unless it happens to be flying super high in the sky, in which case I just have a sniper for those occasions. So that is effectively how I've been speccing my character, so let's take a deep dive and see what I've done. If you guys do enjoy this, a like would be super appreciated. I may well do an updated video on this once I've actually maxed out my character and kind of unlocked everything else, because there's a lot of kind of cyber implants I want to get, and they're pretty expensive, so we'll work on that as we go. So if we jump over to the inventory screen, you can see there's not really kind of too much to show here. Basically, got some cool clothes on, and I've got a couple of weapons. I've got a couple of blunt weapons. Admittedly, since getting the gorilla fists, I very rarely need to use blunt weapons. In fact, I basically don't use them anymore. The first half of my playthrough, I ran with a hammer and a blunt axe since I didn't have gorilla fists, but now that I do have them, honestly, I can swap these out for guns. But as you can see, for the most part, I run melee, and then I have a sniper rifle for those things that I can't quite pick off from afar. I also don't have a hat or a mask equipped because I want to see my face. Anyway, jumping over to the cyberware page, this is what I have so far. As mentioned, there are lots of slots to fill, but as you will find when you guys start playing the game, cyberware is not cheap. Some of it is also tied to street cred. I am now a high enough street cred to basically get anything, but I'm now at the point where I just need some money. And as you can see in the top right hand corner, I don't have a lot of it right now. That being said, quickly going through what I've got a memory boost here to basically give me RAM recovery whenever I defeat an enemy, and the way that I've basically spec this character is that I use the occasional quick hack to try and sort of incapacitate enemies, and then largely speaking just run them down. I also have the Kiroshi Optics, which is just the standard eye implant you get from the beginning of the game. I also recently upgraded my operating system, giving me more base RAM to play with, plus this one also comes with 3 slots for quick hacks, so I have some alternative options in here. In the immune system section, I have shock and awe, where after taking damage, there is a slight chance, 2%. Honestly, I don't see this happening that often. I mean, 2% is pretty low, but occasionally there is the chance that when you get struck, you then dish out a large electroshock that deals damage to nearby enemies. Kind of handy. Again, doesn't happen that often, but it's just never the time being. And I also have subdermal armor to increase my actual armor. Outside of that, I have titanium bones just to increase my carrying capacity because I'm looting stuff all the time in this game and you run out of space quite quickly, and I have bionic lungs to increase my stamina because stamina is consumed when you're performing melee attacks, sprinting, jumping. I use stamina quite a bit. The next implant is more so for smart targeting weapons, don't use that too much, and we then have the main thing here, which are the gorilla arms, which are the incredibly strong melee damage arms. This gives you physical damage, of course, and your punches are considered blunt damage, and basically with these, whenever you attack, you build up this charge meter, and then when you perform a strong attack, which you do by holding down the button, it deals bonus damage based on the level of the charge. So you can do some pretty powerful single punches. Additionally, with gorilla arms, you can also force open locked doors and rip turrets from their bases. Admittedly, this is something you can also do just by speccing into the body tree, but regardless, it's kind of handy. And then finally, I also picked up the reinforced tendons recently. These were incredibly expensive. This basically drained my bank balance, but it now gives me the ability to double jump, so I can kind of use that just to sort of climb up higher, get the drop on enemies. It's kind of more fun than anything. Having now got it, I realised that I don't really need it, and I probably could have saved a lot of money, but either way, it's cool. If we then jump over to the character tree, you can see that I've invested most of my time, most of my points into body and intelligence for the time being. I do plan to spec elsewhere later on, but for the time being, I wanted to focus on my core given playstyle. Specking into body increases your raw physical power, which is going to be useful for this build. I split my points between athletics and street brawler. Under athletics, I have regeneration, where health slowly regenerates during combat. Kind of useful because a lot of the time I'm running into bullets. You have steel and chrome, which increases my melee damage by 20%. I also have Cardio Cure, where I get health regeneration 25% faster as I move. And I have the Rock, where enemies cannot knock me down. I have Steel Shell, which increases my armor by 10%. Again, anything that kind of gives me, protection when I want to sort of try and run towards bullets is always going to be kind of handy. Pack Mule is just useful because, again, it increases your carrying capacity by 60, just more of a utility skill. You have Like a Butterfly, where dodging no longer drains stamina, and I also have Epimorphosis, where health regenerates up to 70% of max health outside of combat. Then if we jump over to the Street Brawler tree, Flurry increases damage from combo attacks from blunt weapons by 50%, again applicable to, well, obviously blunt weapons, but also the Gorilla Fists. You have Opportune Strike, which increases damage with blunt weapons against enemies that are stunned by 50%, and that goes hand in hand with Dazed, where all attacks with blunt weapons have a 30% chance to apply stun. Kind of useful, although admittedly things tend to die faster than they get stunned these days, but still, it has its utility. I have Thrash, where strong attacks with blunt weapons reduce the target's armor by 30% for 10 seconds. I also have Frenzy, where defeating an enemy increases damage with blunt weapons by 100% for 10 seconds. I have Payback, which increases damage of blunt weapons by 2% for every 1% of missing health, which again is pretty common given that I run towards bullets. Efficient Blows reduces the stamina cost of all attacks with blunt weapons by 50%, and again, given that punching uses a lot of stamina, that's actually quite appreciated. I have Crushing Blows, which increases damage from strong attacks with blunt weapons by 40%. Keep in mind, if you use Gorilla Fists and you've charged them up, then your strong attack is already powerful, so this kind of adds a stack on top. And you also get Rush, where successful attacks with blunt weapons regenerate 5% health over 2 seconds. So if you do happen to be fighting a boss or a more powerful enemy, then you can actually heal through attacking. Outside of that, I then put some stuff into intelligence. In truth, I haven't gone too far into this just yet because I've been putting a lot of my focus on the body side of things, but basically I've gone into here to unlock a few of the different demons and kind of quick hack options, and I've then gone into the quick hacking section to unlock some crafting specs for some uncommon quick hacks, as well as some chances to regenerate RAM. In terms of the quick hacks that I typically use, for now I have Ping, which is just kind of useful because if you scan one enemy, it basically reveals the location of all enemies, so I know that when I'm about to run into a room, I know where to be focusing. I also have Weapon Glitch, which basically jams target's weapon, so I can jam it and then run towards them and not worry about being shot. And I also have Cripple Movement, which again can disable the target's ability to move, so if you happen to be fighting one of those sort of fast, agile enemies that sort of zip around, you can lock them in place and then punch them in the face. So that is effectively, right now, how I spec my character. I run in, sometimes, I'll be honest, a lot of the time I just run in and punch things because I can typically tank it, but in the slightly more high-level encounters, I will then quick hack a little bit to try and sort of, control the environment, and then just run up and punch things in the face. It's kind of simple, but it's a lot of fun. It's how I spent most of my time doing it in the game. Obviously, I haven't finished the game just yet, but I haven't encountered anything yet which has forced me to go away from this playstyle. I have never been forced to go back to guns properly. Again, there might be the occasional time where I have to switch to a sniper just to pick something off from afar, but generally speaking, I have tackled everything with this build. So, hope you guys enjoyed that video. That's a look into how I've been playing so far. Again, be sure to keep it locked because we've got plenty of Cyberpunk content coming your way very soon. Thanks so much for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed that video. Don't forget, if you haven't already done so, you can join the HyperX Gaming Discord. We've got an awesome community over there with so many different channels for you to chat loads of different topics and different games. I'm in there, the team's in there if you guys want to chat with us, find people to play with. It's just in general a great place to be. And of course, if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to turn on those notifications so you don't miss any of our future uploads.